Welcome everybody to a Forge Forward podcast. It's been a long time since we've done one of these. My name is Phil Da Cruz, your host. I'm alongside my co-host today, Courtney Smith, the CEO of Connection, the visionary, the Forge Master, the ever witness. There's so many titles this young gentleman has. But Cordo, say hi to all your fans out there, all the babies that you've kissed when you've gone through your presidency of being Victorian leader. But
Oh,
welcome.
wow.
How are you?
Wow, what a lead-in. Phil, you scare me with these sorts of accolades. I don't know if they can land. And we've just had Vijay join, so wonderful to see you join, Vijay. Look, mate, it's a pleasure to be here. This is a group of people that we kicked off a conversation last year into a large event. And all of these people made amazing contributions to that event with a single aspiration, which is to work out what a better partner relationship ecosystem looks like, so we can share the wealth, so to speak, in the industries in which we operate. And the big ticket items, really, from my perspective, is that we're in an ever-changing world, and that's what Forge was all about, was this ever-changing world. And so we lead into today's conversation 1 year down, and one of the questions I'm going to want to pose to everyone is, what have they seen in the changes since that significant event we had a year ago? What's changed in their worlds? So, yep, thanks for the intro. Always a pleasure to be on the pod with you, mate.
Excellent, mate. And we've got a very unique lineup today. We've got Ronan from IR, we've got Mark Belkin from Stratus Consulting Group, we've got Jenny from Majestic Technology, and we've got Vijay from Future Pulse, all best of breed in their own little domains. It's got to get some interesting conversations coming out, which is excellent. So, mate, I'll hand it back to you. Let's start off with the first question and direct your response to each one. Thank you, mate.
Yeah, well, look, I'm seeing left to right, Ronan, Mark, Jenny, and Vijay. So we'll start with Ronan, mate. Since being MC at the large Forge, what are the major things that you've seen changing in the industry in front of our eyes in that short period of 12 months?
Well, you're quite across this, Courtney. For me, the last 12 months, it's all been about AI and what we call signal-based marketing, and everything is changing. You've only got to look around. The phrase we used last year in one of the podcasts was, snow melts on the edges and you see it start slowly and happens really, really fast. And so while everyone's kind of talking about AI, there's a component of how do you then find some use cases and build it into your business. Start small and scale from there. But we're at the leading edge of what we call GTM engineering, this kind of signal-based marketing, finding intent in the market, and then building, scaling automation and processes to find the right customers for you. So 12 months ago, I wasn't doing any of that. And, you and I were running kind of sessions showing marketers some tools that they didn't realize. And so I think if you haven't learned anything in the last 12 months, you are falling behind, and you're falling behind exponentially, because everything is changing so quickly. And this isn't about just having ChatGPT and throwing a few questions into it. It's baking into your whole daily process, you and your team and all of the people who work with you. How do you actually use these tools to significantly create better outcomes?
Yeah, and I think that leads in a brilliant segue to Mark in respect to the fact that you work with some of the more monolithic infrastructures that are being deployed in the financial services and accounting package segments. So perhaps if you can add some light around that as well, because I think there's a lot of audience members that are a bit curious on what's taking place.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I 100% agree with Ronan. AI has just been at the top of everyone's minds. It's every meeting we go to, people are asking about it. And, every, for example, RFP that we go into, standard questions now are, what are vendors doing about AI? What's in the roadmap? What are they planning? So people want to know not just what's there, but also when people are selecting a new system, they're looking for vendors that are investing and can actually have a roadmap of AI development alongside standard development of the system. So it's huge, and it's come in. So ERP was probably a little bit late to the party compared to CRM packages and various other standalone tools, but it's now well and truly in the core ERP. So we're seeing really exciting stuff like predictive analytics and looking at exceptions and guiding you. So it's analyzing the financial data and saying, hang on, have you coded this to the wrong place for that supplier? There's an anomaly here. Have you got the wrong margin on this order? Because normally you sell to the customer at a different margin. And so in the distribution finance space, it's really saving people a lot of time and avoiding errors. It's pretty phenomenal.
Incredible. And interestingly, Jenny, with your background in HR and culture, I just came off a call this morning with an organisation that's trying to look at how they better improve their candidacy and recruitment selection processes. And so I'm seeing huge changes in what I'd call these niche, highly valuable admin function tasks. Love to hear your thoughts around what are you seeing out there in the world. Is AI the number one, or is it something different in the 12 months? Because we talk about change management as well, right? And the concept of human operating system 2.0 and how do our people change to adopt to this rapidly evolving space. So over to you, Jenny, please.
Yeah. So from an IT technology kind of generalist company perspective, what we're seeing is a very disorganized mess in the market is probably the nicest way of putting it. So people, you've got different staff who have got different adoption of these tools and a different appetite for new tools, different thinking, change management, innovation, all of these things. And so what we're seeing is leaders who in some ways are being left behind and their staff are kind of dragging them kicking and screaming. On the other side, we've got, people who are taking on and adopting kind of a lot of diverse tools because there's just bazillions of them in the market. And they're just kind of almost like grabbing and adopting and nothing's communicating with each other. And it's not aligned with strategy, and it's very like people are scared not to do it, but they don't know how to do it. And they're understanding that technology is a really critical part of business and of business growth, but they're not looking at technology as a strategic piece. So number one is how are these tools and pieces working towards their objectives and their goals? That's number one. But number two is about the risk factors that sit around them. They just don't even know what questions to ask. They don't know who to go to. So someone with a little bit of knowledge is almost better than nothing at this moment. And they're just not sure who the specialists are who can actually help them. And then number two is how do you actually build this into your strategy, and how do you use technology as a point of difference, the ability to actually showcase yourself, to position yourself as a leader in the market in a really clever, unique way, thinking about technology, asking questions that most businesses aren't asking. So if you're just grabbing different tools and playing and not asking these big questions, people are finding themselves in a really kind of muddled up network of mess that it's actually in some ways even more inefficient than when they were double handling. So it's kind of it's quite an interesting marketplace out there, and a lot of noise. And I think it's about having those trusted advisors who are really going to guide you to help make decisions.
So I think that was one of the big topics in the summit last year. We had a day of really high quality people talking about change and the things that are taking place, and you got to see a really large cross section of people in different industries doing different things. And so across to you, Vijay, you're right in it, man. You're in the monolith CRM space, the Salesforce enablement space, but we had a chat at a face-to-face, and I think that's the thing about what we're coming together to do is explore as humans, together as humans, right? There's the technology piece over on the left, and then there's the navigation piece that you've talked about, Jenny, which is people getting and chatting and talking and sharing experiences. So Vijay, what are you seeing out there in the monolith space in CRM? Because I'm seeing things myself.
Yeah. Not from to the. I was just remembering about the event, how it happened, what we did as a future person, all of that. From there, looking very scared those days to today. I think I have come a long way, and then I have learned how to battle those fears. But in terms of AI, there's a lot, like, as Ronan said and Mark said, right? So every customers now, more of the inquiries and more of the adoption is starting. More of the people are asking about the AI. Oh, what can you do? What are the things can be done, and all of that. And the shift is like now, whatever the services that we are trying to provide to the customers, we are putting AI in front, because that's what people are, making them to talk to us. Otherwise, trying to sell normal sales, CRM is not working anymore. So we need to sell a particular concepts, solutions, and the benefit they're gonna get out of it. And then just to tell one example, I think I met a customer 7 months back, and they wanted something, and we said we will do it. That is without AI. And then again they said they didn't sign up with us again, and again came back after 8 months telling that they want something else using AI. And I said that's how the conversation is saying, like the adoption and then seeing through the AI capabilities is increasing, and people are starting asking those questions and reaching out to know what they can get it done to improve their process within their organization.
Yeah, it's super intriguing to me. I feel like there's an incredible amount of noise out there at the moment, like an incredible amount of noise, and trying to identify. One of the big topics, if you recall, at the conference was trying to identify the signals in the noise. So one of the big signals for me is that you can easily get absorbed into the conversation, but without having the knowledge and capability sets that sit around the edges of the conversation. You can go deep down a rabbit hole. To give an analogy, one of the podcasts I follow is the Moonshot podcast, and Peter Diamandis and his colleagues, one of the colleagues is talking about developing AI at speed and scale. And in that conversation, they do 1 million lines of code a night, right? 1 million lines of code a night. So just to grasp that sort of into logic. But what he made the framing was that it still comes down to an incredible amount of human planning and design at the front end to make that work properly. And I think we're finding that if you go off and you just jump in and you don't think about the repercussions, that you can actually end up in a hole, and a deep hole. And so if you design something that's loose, the AI will go to 10x of making that looser, if that makes sense, and worse than it should be. So yeah, I mean, from my perspective, big conversation around signal and the noise. You've all provided some great pieces to add to that. Phil, have you got anything you want to add? Any burning questions, my friend?
Oh, no, I was just going to mention. No, it's great to hear how. And Mark's exactly right. I get asked the AI question every single demo I do of Connection. Can it do this? What AI stuff have you added in? And because we're on the forefront of technology with Google Gemini added into Connection, with the OCR stuff we're doing, it is insane. And when you do show some of these features to the customer, their mind is blown, and they just can't believe where it is today compared when I did the demo with the same customer 12 months ago, and the change that we've added in. So I look forward what the future brings, and it's just got to scale and scale and scale. It's scary, but exciting at the same time.
I'm also going to say, half the time you don't even need to mention AI. It's not about AI. It's does this thing that you are using now, is it better, faster, cheaper, and does it have more outcomes with less inputs of time, staff, dollars on what you're paying, and that's the real conversation. Because if it doesn't, then it's a waste of time. And so how you do it is almost irrelevant. Well, how do you do that? Well, actually, we use AI now. And I also think it's become a leveler. So I think smaller businesses are able to do far more with less now as well. So before, Mark, you're in the ERP space, when, big organizations have big monolithic sort of tools and everything, and data was being has been commoditized now, where smaller players can use some of these really nimble tools and bypass even some of the legacy CRMs and systems and go straight to a better outcome because they've kind of jumped the shark and gone to something better.
I think there's also the element of the people, Courtney, as we discussed earlier. You know, businesses are all fighting to try to attract and retain the best people in the market. And to attract the best people, you need to create a work environment that, number one, is motivating and enjoyable for them. But number two, they can see where they're growing into the future. And people want to see that the organisations they're working for are focused on them and focused on how to make their life easier. So, if people are, have got a lot of tasks that really aren't adding a lot of value, but they're spending a lot of time on them, it's really demotivating and people jump. They want to work in organisations that see and value their time and help them become better at what they do and really refine the skills that matter as opposed to those that don't.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think, shall I give one example there? So I think just to give how people's thinking is changing, and then they're more about, achieving more things in a less time, kind of a, the mentality has come up with AI is reaching everyone now. Yeah. So now I think previously whenever we, delivered a system, they used to search any of their databases to find any of the candidates within drop downs and then list of experience and all of that. Now, all they are coming back and asking us is, I want to type in, I want all the candidates with 3 years of experience into Salesforce. That's all they want to type in. And then they're expecting the results to come back. I think that's how the ask is changed from the customer side. Yeah, that's the one of the example that we are recently going to work, and then we are building into it as well.
Yeah, it's certainly from a perspective of the human connection piece. My alignment is that we're still in augmentation, not replacement. I have a really, really strong sentiment and feeling, even though I'm sitting on the edge, that augmentation is where it's at, creating a bigger wingspan for everyone, if that makes sense. So then the question becomes, and the curiosity from myself is to you as a stakeholder group and the customers you're talking to, are they putting in KPIs into their business that allows for their teams to grow? And are they assessing on this front? I know we are. We've literally made it one of our core KPIs that if you're not working within the constraints to grow with the tools we provide to you, with the conversations, education and training, we do lunch and learn sessions to pass through this information to our team. It's going to be a characteristic of design in terms of how you choose people in the future. I think their abundant mindset, their non-fixed mindset, and I think, is that going to be something that's going to be critical? I'd love to put that to the panel.
I'm happy to go on this one. Look, I think definitely, I think a lot of those things you're talking about are to do with continuous improvement. And it's kind of having a mindset and a culture where continuous improvement is embedded in everything and every way that you work and you function and you think. If there's a better way to do this, let's do it. And I think that, depending on the sort of business, this obviously varies, where everyone needs to be involved at some level. But to me, this actually comes back to values. And what are the values of the organisation? If you're hiring on values, because we can teach most skills, most hard skills, but it's those values. Like, are you dragging people kicking and screaming because they're not aligned? They want to do it their way. They want to show that their way is the right way, or are they there with the vision and mission of the organisation? And understanding that we're all going to a communal point, and I'm part of an overarching kind of, vision that we're all trying to get to. And I think, and this is the cool part, because every business is different and every business has different values. Like, we don't need to be the same. We shouldn't be the same. We should just all be, the values need to reflect the business. And so, yes, I completely agree with you, Courtney. These are things that are critically important, but I think different things are important to each business. And I think you've got to be true to you. And some leaders struggle with this stuff almost more than their people. So it's hard for them to have.
It's an interesting aspect.
So I think it's the people component. I think we've got to remember the businesses, it's the people that actually drive a lot of this. Like, that the technology enables people to be their best. But it's kind of sits around who are the people that you need on the bus to get you to the right, or the rocket ship, to get you to the right destination.
Mark, are you seeing it in your business, mate? Like, are you seeing that concept of augmentation and culture being something that's shifting into, hey, if you're not engaging, then it's going to be a problem, because we need to move at the pace of the market around us, and we are thought leaders in the space, so we can't sit idle. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. It varies a bit depending on which team and the role and function, but definitely in in development, in consulting, in many, especially in the technical areas, the way that people think needs to be different. And you need to be able to, especially in technical fields, you need to be able to just figure things out. Sometimes I'll do something and someone on the team will say, "Oh, how did you learn how to do that?" I say, I worked it out. It's, you've got to be inquisitive and be able to play and break things and figure it out. And you've got to have that mentality, because things change so much. It's, I think going to university and learning something, it's redundant by the time you get out in technology. You've got to be able to keep up and learn as you go quickly.
Fear's an interesting one. We had a team member, and I felt a bit bad because I'd asked them to step in and use the tool, and it's easy coming from my world where I knew how to use the tool and all the things that go with it. So it was like this little test of, are you prepared to lean in or not? And so it was interesting to find them struggling a bit, and I think it was through fear and not understanding, and perhaps that felt like a trap, and it wasn't intended to be. It was intended to be a growth opportunity. And we all sit in the world of scoping and design, right? And we all know how complex that piece is between understanding the customer's requirement and then bringing that into an actual scope that can be built towards or achieved. And then, you don't want to have scope creep, because that's the worst thing you can have in a relationship early in the conversation. So, this is where AI, I'm seeing in our industry, is blending incredibly. I'd love to get a sense of that conversation piece, which is client requirements, problem statements, and these things, and how are we using tools to better define what it is that we're going to build for and give to our clients. I think that's a huge piece of what we do as vendors in the conversations we have.
Yeah, agree. I think just to answer that, I did tell all of my team members, adopt, learn. Okay, so there will be one part is whether they know how to use the tool or not, but other part is reluctance. Sometimes, I don't trust it. So it's easy to say it, right? So, but the thing is, you have to make sure that why we are using it, for what purpose, and also to deliver the value. So instead of sitting and struggling, if you have a tool which can help us to move forward, why can't we use it? So I think that's a kind of
We have a mantra inside intelligent resourcing, is that we believe, similar to what you were saying, Jenny, and this is a value of ours, our really only competitive advantage is the rate at which we're learning. Because if you've learned nothing in the last 12 months, you've gone backwards. And that applies to just about everybody in every seat inside your organization. You've learned nothing, you haven't played with the new tools, you've gone backwards. So everyone talks about moat or competitive advantage. Again, these tools now are fast destroying that competitive advantage. So I strongly believe that one of your few competitive advantages is the rate at which your organization learns. If you look back to where you were 12 months ago, where you are now, and if you're not seeing strong kind of adoption of the tools or processes or systems or changing the way you're doing things, then that moat and that competitive advantage you have is being shrunk.
I couldn't agree more, Ronan. And so we all know that this world that we're stepping into is moving at rapid pace. I heard someone state that the equivalent of 2025 to 2035 is the equivalent of 1925 to 2025. That's the sort of rate of change we're talking about in the next 10. So, there's going to be some people that really have concerns and worries as they step into that. So it's our job as leaders to try and set an environment for success, because people are looking at themselves with doubt. I'm going to shift the topic a little bit, if that's okay. So Forge was created for a couple of reasons, was to have these great conversations as leaders and to be involved in discussions that are going to add value into the way in which you do business in the future. But the other thing that's really important as we go into the future is there's going to be so many people, things, tools, technologies that tell us we can build our businesses just by using them. Now, I believe that to be absolute bullshit, but some people will sell on the premise of that. And so from that perspective, I had a good friend say to me once that if you can go out and have an experience with someone in a place where they're comfortable, and you can give them an experience that they haven't either had before or that they hadn't considered having, and you can walk away, it's worth 3 years of typical business development work on the edge. Yep. So that concept is bringing forward a relationship at speed and at scale. So one of the premises of Forge was to work with vendor partners and the view that they have customers out there that they may not have had a really high quality experience with. Now, I'm not saying that anyone in this audience doesn't do lunches and conversations, but the conversation of an engaged, abundant environment where you're with other people like-minded, to bring them into that room has power. I would love to get across the audience their thoughts on that enablement of abundance and sharing and adding value and experience, and what that does for your customers and why Forge is a vehicle for that. Who wants to kick off?
I'm happy to go.
Go, Jen. Bring it up. Bring it on.
Oh, look, I mean, relationships are everything. Relationships with partners, relationships with existing and potential clients. It's everything. And I think anything that to me is where the magic sits. And if you can showcase your alignment with other organizations that are like-minded and all collectively bring value to people, and create opportunities that that saying, it's people don't care how much you know until you show how much you care, or something like that. So to me, life is about adding value to people, and how do we add value to each other? How do we add value to clients? And I think when you can have an experience that kind of takes you outside of that not selling mode, but outside of having the conversation, even around anything to do with business, and just really focuses on building the relationship, it is just so incredibly powerful. And if you can showcase something to them which is fun and just really kind of speaks to their heart with like-minded people, I think the combination of it is just magic.
Yeah, well, I can promise a bit of that. There's not too many times you can throw an axe at an event, and that's what the 18th is going to be all about, is getting amongst each other, learning a bit as we go, but actually having a little bit of a competitive axe throwing outcome as well. Who's thrown an axe in the audience here? Who's actually had the opportunity to throw an axe?
No, looking forward to it.
I mean, that alone is worth bringing your clients along. We did it in Queensland, and it was just such a blast. It was so much fun.
Is it true we're putting Phil's face up on the target?
Well, that was the debate. Did we put vendor faces up to really make it personal, or do we just put brands up and give away a prize, and they can choose whether they take the risk of hitting the brand with the axe and cutting it in half, or just scoring points on a competition environment? Not too sure, but I do know the man up in the top right here, Phil, throws a mean axe. I can give you that. So if you're on a team, jump on his.
Thanks, Corda. It is lots of fun. Of course, I couldn't be the winner of the tournament, so I did forfeit. But I look forward to see you guys throw some axes. I think we've
And
got
I think
time.
the important thing is you come with a Viking name like Odin or Thor, so that you can really blend into the axe throwing culture on the night. So what's the dates? Give us some dates, because this is a wonderful audience. We're all going to be there. We're bringing our clients along, and we're looking for people in the industry that what we call dangerous and dirty industrial services, industries with big kit, lots of capable people in the field. These are our target audiences we love working with. Tell us a bit about what we're doing, Phil.
Yeah, so very similar to what we organised in Queensland, which was again a great event. But again, we love to bring people together that are industry leaders in. It doesn't really matter which vertical, to be honest, but the ones that we really hone into is that dangerous and dirty sector. So those that construction, that manufacturing, anything with a high vis, they're lovely people to have involved in the event, because they're the ones that are asking questions. They're the ones that are looking for answers. And then instead of going to Stratus individually or going to Future Pulse individually, the opportunity of having all them in one room and just work in the room is a great time. So mixing axe throwing with tequila can be quite dangerous sometimes, but I think it's worth the end of the day. There is safety briefings, of course, but September 18th is going to be a great time in Melbourne. And then we're looking to do this again in Sydney next year, possibly Perth and possibly Auckland. So we'd love to take it international one day. But yeah, it's just the beginning of something more. So I look forward to it. Absolutely.
So you've all come back, guys, in some way, shape, or form. What are you seeing in the changes and the relationships that have been built post Forge 1, which was the kickoff, the inaugural, and into now working together and trying to foster those relationships of networking and adding value back? What brings you back? Why are you helping to sponsor this? And let me be very clear: these people are all sponsoring Forge in a way to allow us to put on the food, to pay for the axe throwing, and to do those sorts of things. So what keeps bringing you guys back to this forum?
For us, it's a great way to bring clients together and get exposed to new technology. In-person events are just, kind of mentioned before, but it's the best way to connect. Webinars are just not the same, not even close. So sharing an experience is just so important. So yeah, that's why we're here. We just want to bring our clients, other customers together to share this experience and learn from the people here that will be attending, and we can't wait.
And they get to learn from each other, Mark. That's the bit I saw. The dynamic was the conversations that were emerging, and then I heard about later. It was like, wow. It was like we start off with this sort of thought provocation, and then just bang, the conversations are going in every different direction, in every angle. We've got some games as well, because we believe that an event is successful on the basis of getting good people in a room, having good conversations, making something that's different or unique in the environment, so creating an experience, and doing all that in a time frame that's conducive to their life, their busy lifestyle, which is why we've gone to Roadshow this year to test that environment. So, an evening for 3 hours to have some fun is what it's all about. And anyone else want to add to that?
Bringing together like-minded people.
Sorry, Jim. I just like how when you get people into a group in that non-selling environment, especially when you're playing those games, you kind of learn so much more about people, how they think, how they interact with each other. That dynamic of learning and playing at the same time is pretty special, because let's be honest, all our time is valuable. The last thing you want is to just be in a room where everybody's pitching to each other. It's just such a turn off versus, you only need to come away with 1 or 2 fantastic relationships and insights into people, rather than trying to think that you're going to sell to every single person that comes into the room. So that's one of the reasons I keep coming back.
Vijay, what brings you back to the environment, mate?
Oh, Same thing. I think the exposure that I had from the first Forge event was something that's always keeps thinking me about again and again about the Forge doing the events like that, and then learning. Yeah, I think as I said, like it helped me to better my fears. So I think I will come back and do it again.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to see you with an axe, mate. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing an axe in your hand. Yeah, so ultimately, the aspirations here is to maybe leave with just a quick conversation about what each of you do and the things that you hope to bring in terms of knowledge to the table at Forge. So could we just go through and close out on that? As Ronan has intimated, we're not here to sell. It's not about that. It's about building great relationships and ultimately, at the end of the day, you don't get to have conversations unless you actually know what the field of expertise in which the people operate. So maybe your field of expertise and what you're going to bring along to Forge. If someone was to tap you on the shoulder and say, "G'day, hi, my name's, I saw you in a podcast or I've heard you do amazing things please, we'll start left to right, Ronan, and we'll close out on
that. For me, I've read so many books and play around so many tools. Whenever someone comes up to me and tells me a problem or a solution, I'm either know someone that can help them, or I can say, here, try this tool. We've tried a number of others. This is better than what you have at the moment. So that's my superpower. If people come up to me, that's why they should lean in and have a chat with me.
We had a laugh about it in a conversation recently, Ronan, which was frameworks, models, and rule of thumb. So yeah, if you want to know any of those, Ronan's your man. He's a well-read and learned dude. Mark?
Yeah, look, I mentioned ERP, but for those that don't know, I mean, basically we come into a business, we look at your systems, we assess what you need, whether it be finance, CRM, distribution, payroll, kind of all the tech that runs the core of the business, and then we help implement that and going all the way through. So we're helping understand where there are gaps, pick the right solution, but then we also implement it and support it afterwards.
Beautiful, thank you. And we have had the great privilege of working with you and your team, and we really enjoyed it every time. So great to have you on board.
Likewise, thanks.
We really sit on the side of Mark and Courtney, you and Phil, and we help businesses with their day-to-day technology needs, keeping the lights on, helping them sleep at night, really looking at how they can save money through the clever use of technology, but really being in there and providing them with the day-to-day support and putting in the structure in place to really ensure it's set up for success for the future.
Beautiful. Vijay?
Yeah, so we are into CRM world, and if you have any problem, if anybody has any problem with the CRM or they want to know what is the better CRM tool to use for their business use cases, I think we are the right guys to talk, and then definitely we can advise the right thing.
And I'll get you to give us a connection spiel, Phil. We'll see how you go on that one here under pressure.
End of the day, it's not about selling connection. It's not about selling ERPs or CRMs or marketing or MSPs. End of the day, I love saving time, whatever it is. I've got abundance of partnerships under my belt. And I love analyzing what is their fundamental challenge and pain point. Is it an operation matter? Is it an ERP matter? End of the day, I want to get them to save time so they can do better things than just work, spending time with their kids, spending time with the family. And I see tools like Connection, tools like MYB, Acumatica, Wires, and ERPs, tools like Salesforce. They're all tools that can help you give you that time. And being part of a tech company that build applications, it's fantastic, and it's very rewarding when you see a customer see and reap the benefits, and that's all I would like to say. That's my final note. Yeah.
And so everything I've taken from there is that there's an abundance of knowledge in this room today, and every single person brings their flavour of expertise and skill set. And ultimately, it's not what you know; it's the questions you ask, and it's the people you get to know that are going to be the difference in the way in which you move forward, particularly in this AI furious world that we're stepping ourselves into. We've hit that magic 40-minute mark, and it's been a great conversation today. Really look forward to seeing you on the 18th at Forge, sharing a drink post axe throwing, throwing an axe together, having some fun, taking some learnings, and building relationships that will count into the future. Thanks for coming along, all. Thanks for setting up, Phil, as you always do. You're a rock, mate, and you know, I can't announce it today, but hopefully on the 18th, Phil can announce something out there in the audience that's changing his life. But we will wait. That's that hold on to audience has to wait until the 18th. You've got to come to Forge to hear what's changed in Phil's life. So wonderful to see you all.
Can we allow to have, hold the axe after the drinks or not?
You can dress in Viking gear, Vijay, and I expect nothing less. If you don't put a Viking hat on and take a photo with me, I'll be very disappointed, my friend. And yeah, if anyone in this room is not happy to have their logo as a target on one of the axe targets, then let us know. We're trying to get that one across. If we get that across, I think that'll add another level of flavour and a different way to brand, right? Is to have people throw axes at your brand. So looking forward to it too. Looking forward to it.
Thank you all. I'll wrap up.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you all for your time,
Thank
and
you.
I do appreciate it. Thank you. I look forward to
Thanks.
throwing
Have a great
some
day. See you next.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.